everyone, this is Moshe the Electric Israeli, and thank you for joining my channel. If you are new, please subscribe and help me change the world one electric car at a time. Thank you to all my patrons and those who ordered their Tesla using my link. As you see, I'm not driving, hence the bumpy ride.
No, please.
I didn't. What are you doing? Today we're going to talk about Tesla's greatest advantage, and that is the supercharging network. I do a video like this every few months to give you an update and a couple numbers and couple statistics that are absolutely staggering. And then actually I'm going to ask Beth to share with you a New York City public charging experience she had last week. Just hold that thought, lady. First of all, just so you to know, an average supercharger construction cost about $250,000. And back in the day, in 2012, when Tesla had about 3 superchargers in the United States, in California, they asked for, a venture partners to join them, and the partners did not come through because who wants to invest tens of thousands of dollars on each supercharger and see results many years later? So Tesla decided to go it alone, which was a good idea. So here's some numbers that are staggering. In 2014, 5 years ago, there were 280 supercharging stations around the world. When I say station, I don't mean a stall. Each station can have between 4 to 20 or even more stalls. So there were 280 stations around the world. 2 years later, in 2016, there were 790. Okay, so more than twice. In June of this year, 2019, there were 1,587, twice as much. You see the trend? And in August, right now, August of 2019, 1,604, representing 74,081 stalls, 81 individual stations to charge. In the United States, North America, Canada, Mexico, in Asia, I'm sorry, in the Middle East, in the Arab Gulf states, in a few in Jordan, not in my homeland, Israel, well, that's another story, and also, of course, in the Far East, China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. And they're growing and growing and growing, and it is the single most incredible advantage for Tesla cars. A Tesla car without the supercharging would have been a niche city car. We driving this car, we drive it anywhere, anytime, with absolutely no fear, no issues of ever getting stuck. We took this car to Quebec this summer, to Florida, anywhere, really anywhere in the United States. The charging speed originally was 120 kilowatt, which took, let's say you're driving a long distance and you need to charge to 80% from very low. It will take you almost 45 minutes to an hour. Now, with 120 kilowatt, the 120 kilowatt speed, with a software update that preparing the battery, preconditioning the battery, cut this by 25%. Level 2, which I used so much, has 145, 150 charging speed, and that sped up the charging time even further. And rolling out in certain places in Las Vegas, there's one 250 kilowatt of charging speed, cutting the charging time by 50%, giving you 75 miles in 5 minutes, which is what most drivers need going on a long trip, because you are not going to charge your car to 100%, 80%, and you for the next one. So basically, version 3 of a supercharger is now almost equivalent to a gas station stuff. Really, 5 minutes, 5 and done. And that is unbelievably incredible accomplishment and advantage that the Tesla superchargers have. And my wife drove to the city last week. She had a very interesting experience in a parking garage that we use often. Would you like to share your story, my dear? Let's do that.
Sure. So we go to this parking garage. I'm sure Moshe's talked about it before. Manhattan Plaza, the one that's right outside the Lincoln Tunnel. And they had chargers, and it was always reliable. We could always get, go there and charge the car. And it was ChargePoint, right? So I went, and I had my ChargePoint card, and I get there, and it's now Blink. So
Blink-a-doodle-doo.
So I actually had, for some reason, I don't know, at some point, I guess I needed Blink, and so I remembered that I had it, and so I'm sitting there trying to remember my password, and I go through the whole entire thing, and I get, it asks for an access code. So finally, I get the access code, and I go and I press the button, to put in my access code, and it says, we're not accepting access codes. And there were two machines, so I went to the other one, and that one also wasn't accepting access codes. So I had no way to use it. Now, and I told you there was some other screen I wound up on where it says, I guess it was the app where, they find you, and they saw where I was, and they said, oh, there's two there. One's offline and one's being used. Which wasn't, I guess they were offline, but neither of them were being used. So as I was sitting there trying to figure everything out, a Tesla came and parked in a spot, but didn't even charge, but one of the spots to charge. And I was like, screw it, I'm just leaving the car here. And I couldn't charge it.
Conclusion.
Could not charge it. Charging sucks in Manhattan, which is always the conclusion I come to.
And superchargers are
fabulous.
And
necessary.
And awesome.
So there it is. You still can't charge in New York. Even our old reliable spot is no longer reliable.
That is unbelievable, and disappointing. That's the point. Disappointing that there is such. I know that you can charge publicly, but it's unreliable and unpredictable. That's the point. In the biggest city in the world. Yep. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Give me a thumbs up. See you tomorrow.